Hey screen printers, have you ever wondered why there's not a better water-based white ink? I mean, most of them are really thick and they dry on the screen almost instantaneously. Plus, nothing's even close to Plastisol as far as user friendliness. But all the good things about water-based ink, the fact that it's PVC free, it's environmentally friendly, it's phthalate free, it just would be so cool if there was a great one. Well, with Comet White, the new white ink from Green Galaxy Printing Systems, there finally is. Comet White is a PVC-free, phthalate-free, water-based ink that's an opaque white, part of our AB print systems. This white ink is not only a water-based ink, but it prints and stays wet in the screen much, much longer, and it's almost as good as a Plastisol, in fact. Let's check it out. Check out how creamy, light, and fluffy this ink is. Just spreads on your screen like butter. Very, very, very user-friendly. It doesn't stink at all, no odors coming off of it. And the best part about it is that it stays wet much, much longer than most water-based inks. Now, we do need to load more onto our screen. So if you notice, I had a little bit more loaded, but this screen, for instance, has been already flooded with this ink for already probably 5 minutes while we started to film this video. Time out. So we can simply, we're going to push print this. I find that this ink works really well with a push print. Flood up, keep that screen wet, and then it just clears the mesh beautifully. Typically 2 passes, and you're working really, really well through the mesh. Then you always want to leave the screen flooded like I just did. If you leave the mesh open, it has a tendency to dry. Now, we do want to use a water-resistant stencil, so you don't want to just use any stencil. We do want to use a stencil that has some water-resistant, either water-resistant emulsion or a hardener, a post-hardener on the emulsion. So that is after the first print. Now I'm printing actually through a 156 mesh screen, so this actually prints through higher mesh too, anywhere from 110 all the way up to 305. So that's 2 passes down on a 156 on a black garment. That is a cotton garment. This is not a low bleed ink, so you do want to stay with the cottons or your very, very light synthetic fabrics. For flashes, you can use a standard flash, but like any water-based ink, it is better to use a forced air flash like this Riley Hopkins forced air flash we have right here. With the standard flash, it's going to take a little bit longer to flash cure, but with the forced air flash, it flashes very, very quickly. Now let's make our second print. Just flooded the screen up. Once again, I like pushing this ink. I think it works very, very well, especially through this particular mesh. So there we have it. We remember to leave our screen flooded like so. And a nice, nice, bright water-based ink. Just as opaque as Plastisol, yet the hand and feel on this ink is less than half what it would be if this was a Plastisol print. You don't see a lot of ink buildup. It sits more into the shirt versus stacked up on top of the shirt. For curing, water-based ink does need to cure a little bit longer than Plastisol. So if you notice with this dryer, which does have a little bit of forced air movement in it, we slow the belt down a little bit. Now this ink needs to stay in a dryer under a flash for a full cure time of about 3 minutes at 320 degrees. Now you can speed that up if you get the ink hotter. So if you go like, let's say 360, it can go down to 2 minutes. But getting the ink to cure is very, very important. It's like baking a cake. It has to fuse together. If it doesn't cure, it will wash out over time. Now you always want to test your print by stretching it, because this ink does have some elasticity to it, as well as wash curing or wash testing before you actually go to print production. So unless you're very, very confident with your heating source, you do want to do some testing before you go in to start producing this ink. You are going to see a little steaming on the ink when it comes out your dryer, especially if it doesn't have good ventilation in that dryer. So with this belt going a little bit slower, this ink cures very, very well. And as you can see, the shirt's hot, but we got great stretchability here. So you can see this thing's fully cured. We got good stretchability there in the ink and nice soft hand and feel. Check out Comet White, available from Green Galaxy Printing Systems and Ryonet.